I'm Rihanna Carey.
And I'm Chrissy Knox.
And we're both Bowtech Women's Ambassadors.
Today we're going to go over the basics of shooting a bow, all the way from stance to release and follow through. First step to think about is your stance. Your feet placement is very important before you even focus on the bow. There's a couple different ways you can do it. Rihanna's standing pretty perpendicularly to the target, where her toes line up perfectly to the target. The other option you have is to put your right foot slightly in front of your left if you're a right-handed shooter, and this allows you to open up your stance a bit, so it's whatever's most comfortable to you. The next step is nocking the arrow. I'll have Rihanna pop that off. You have what is called a knock, and you're going to want to hear that click when you pop it onto the string. Rihanna has a D-loop, so she's going to put it in the middle of that D-loop, and you can hear that click. You always have one vein that is a different color, that is your odd vein, and you want that pointed up. Okay, so next step is going to be the grip. When you place your hand on the grip, you want to use the meaty part of your hand right through here, and you're basically going to be using your left hand to push against the bow rather than actually grip it. You see how Rihanna's fingers are straight out and floating? You don't actually want to wrap your fingers around the bow. You don't want to grip it. You want them either free floating or folded under so that your knuckles are at a 45-degree angle to the bow. Next, we're going to talk about drawing the bow. Rihanna is using a thumb punch release. She's going to go ahead and hook onto her D-loop and get ready to draw. And as she draws, she's going to push forward with her left arm and pull with her right. You notice how her body is straight up and down and forming a T. You don't want to be leaning back or leaning forward. She's got a nice parallel forearm back here, a slight bend in her left arm so that the string isn't going to hit her arm, and she's using her skeletal muscle, or her skeleton, to actually hold the bow rather than all of her muscles. Okay, now we're going to talk about anchor point, and this is where your string lines up on your face. Rihanna, you can see where the string lines up with the corner of her mouth. She also has her index finger knuckle locked under her jaw. There are a couple different options. You can also touch the string to the tip of your nose if that's comfortable. You can also use a kisser button, which is basically an E button that lines up with the corner of your mouth. There's several different options. Just find something that works for you and stick with it. It's a good idea if you have two anchor points, whatever they are, just be consistent with it and do that every time. Next, we're going to talk about aiming the bow. You're going to want to line up your sight ring with your peep, as Rihanna is doing. Within your sight ring, you have your pins. The top pin is typically going to be 20 yards. Once you have your peep lined up with your sight, you're going to put that pin right where you want to hit. Now it is time to actually release the arrow. You want to do a nice, smooth trigger pull, just like Rihanna did, and you notice how she didn't move the bow after she shot. That is called follow through. You want to wait until you hear the arrow hit the target before you move. So stay on target, stay aiming until you hear that arrow hit the target.
And remember, practice makes perfect. Repetition is the key to building muscle memory.
So those are the basic steps to shooting a bow. We hope this was helpful.
If you have any other questions, get hold of us on the Bowtech Women's Archery page.